What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got more with my boy, Miles Morales. And Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number 40. And in case you guys missed the last issue of the series, number 39, I'll go ahead and I'll put a link up at the top of the screen for you. So you guys can check that out. And then go and double back over here and check this one out so you can kind of stay in tune with the way things are going down. But when we last left my boy Miles, he had just come back from the Ultimate Universe, which you can find in the Ultimate Incursion series. I'll also post a card to that at the end of the video. But he had brought back some boxes from the maker from that universe that basically hold a cache of different power sets that he had stolen from heroes before they became heroes, essentially. But in addition to that, we also found out that Miles' newest arch enemy, Rabble, who I dig, by the way. I think she's a very good counterpart for my boy Miles. But we found out that Rabble is a patient now of Dr. Quan, who also has Miles Morales as a patient. So the wonder here is, how does Dr. Quan pull a double duty with these two bitter enemies, and what happens if they meet up once again? Not only that, if Rabble finds out about this cache of secret powers, what does she do if she get her hands on that thing? So if you guys are ready to find out if Dr. Quan can keep these two clients separated before all hell breaks loose, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So this issue kicks off a brand new story arc in this series called Webs of Regret. And when the issue kicks off, we're taken back to Gang War. And I can also post a card at the end of the video for that as well, because we did cover the whole Gang War on this channel. So that's really what kicked this channel off. So it holds a special place in my heart, you feel me? But we pick up back when Rabble had teamed up with Hobgoblin. And in this moment, Hobgoblin, believe it or not, is kind of actually being the voice of reason for Rabble. And he's asking her if she's sure that she knows what type of powers that she's messing with. And Rabble responds that, yeah, this adaptive memory editing device I stole from Beyond was barely more than a prototype, but I duplicated it and improved it. And Hobgoblin's like, yeah, I know a thing or two about having your mind messed with, better in our hands than theirs, I say. And we kind of had a little bit of this conversation back then. But Hobgoblin's like, still, don't you think you got more than enough weapons? And Rabble's like, I'll never have enough. Classic case of addiction. She's addicted to weapons. But she's like, there was a code, a voice that she had heard while she was digging through these Beyond Corporation's files. And it was a language that she could barely understand, a fragmented AI. Sophisticated, but broken like me, she thinks. And when Hobgoblin's like, well, what did you find? And her response is a solution. And when we see what that solution is, oh my God, if you're a fan of Miles Morales, then you immediately were like, oh hell, when you see who this AI is. It is none other than the Assessor. A quick little backstory on the Assessor. The Assessor had previously kidnapped and tortured Miles Morales. I'm talking about, this was one of his worst enemies, to the point where Tony Stark had to come and help defeat the guy. Well, the AI, I should say. But she tells Hobgoblin that this is a machine properly able to assess their effort to kill Spider-Man. But once again, Hobgoblin, believe it or not, is the voice of reason. And he's like, I don't really think that it's smart to be messing with an AI. But Rabble, stubborn, young, she's like, his consciousness has been partitioned across nearly 24 pieces of stolen Stark servers. Putting it all back together will take some time. And Hobgoblin asks, what does it do? And Rabble's like, I don't know, it won't tell me yet. Which prompts Hobgoblin to tell her that it sounds like you're playing with powers you don't understand. What's to stop it from turning on us? And she's like, yeah, well, I'm not stupid. Once I finish reconstructing the intelligence, it'll be housed by the upgraded Beyond device, where it'll be fully under my control. My voice will be the only one and at that moment, that's when we catch the fight from Gang War with Miles Morales and Miss Marvel coming to bring the fight to Hobgoblin. Which Hobgoblin notices when he looks at the screen and he tells Rabble, we got some company, so your project's gonna have to wait. And Rabble, of course, is not finished with what she's working on. She needed a few more minutes, but Hobgoblin kind of teases her a bit. He's like, you really gonna outsource revenge to a machine? I thought I taught you better than that. So she's like, I don't need it anyway. And they kind of run off. But meanwhile, in the background, we see that the program is still going. You see reconfiguration, 74% complete. There's an explosion, but it's still going. Reconfiguration, 87% complete. Reconfiguration error, defragmentation complete. Uploading. So while everything had been going on in the background with gang war and everything leading up to the end, the program was still fixing itself, basically. But then we pick up with now. In the current day is Miles Morales swings around the city with his girlfriend Starling. And he's just happy how clear the skies are. Everything for him has been hell over the last few months. So he's just happy to enjoy a really beautiful day with his lady. And so, you know, he feeling himself now. He got to do a few little tricks on the swing. Y'all fellas, y'all know how we do. Got to show off a little bit. Add that extra little flip at the end. But once they reach their destination, we find that it's a nice little rooftop that Miles wanted to show her. One of his favorite rooftops, he says. One of the better rooftops in the city, he tells her. But one thing Tiana notices is just how relaxed Spider-Man is at the moment. And he's like, after the summer that I had, I'm basically the most carefree person in Brooklyn. And she's like, well, I guess finally having a Nancy out of your head will do that. And Spider-Man, honestly, he's like, yeah, but I kind of miss it a little bit. But then Tiana sparks up conversation about some friends of theirs, Jaime and Gus. And it kind of prompts Miles to reminisce a little bit about the Assessor. He's like, crazy to think someone so full of joy could be brought into the world by something so evil. And Tiana's like, you mean those experiments the Assessor put y'all through? But Miles tells her that he also thinks about if the reverse is true. Reneen, Rabble. And Tiana tries to explain to him that he can't keep beating himself up about that, but he's like, I'm not. I've just been talking it out with Dr. Kwan. Just saving people is the job. It's why I do this, you know, to help them. Jaime, Rhino, Hightail, Zip, heck, even Scorpion, all of them started off bad. But Miles was still able to inspire all of them to do some good. And as much as he wants to save everyone, it's the people that he hasn't been able to save who keep him up. Like, case in point, Reneen, aka Rabble. And Tiana tells Miles that you can want to save everyone, but not everyone wants to be saved. Bars, put that girl in the studio. But she recognizes that those words won't change him anyway. He's gonna be who he is. But meanwhile, she's got to skate on up out of here because she's got some family stuff to deal with. A cousin's birthday. So she's about to leave town and head to Detroit and promises to call Miles when she comes back. And on the way out, she's like, try not to have an existential crisis while I'm gone. He's like, no promises. Thinks to herself, funny how these things always seem to pop up when things finally start going right. But then meanwhile, we pick up elsewhere, back with Reneen in her session with Dr. Kwan. And Dr. Kwan is showing Reneen some of the things that she did as Rabble, some of the pain and torment that she's caused, and mainly in this fight with Miles Morales. But Rabble was like, I don't want to be here. I don't see how this is useful. Stubborn as always, of course. And Dr. Kwan tells her, just breathe. You need to confront this head on. This was a moment of intense trauma. These sessions are about, but Reneen interrupts her. I don't need to see it. I was there. But Dr. Kwan insists, just watch. There's no one here but us. Please, this is the moment everything changed for you, Reneen. I know you don't want to hear this because you say it all the time, but you were placed in my care because of your gifts. But Reneen's like, I'm not your patient, I'm your prisoner, Dr. Kwan. So Dr. Kwan decides to change the projection and make it a little bit more lighter, so to speak. And tells Reneen, you're not my prisoner. Do I need to remind you you're free to express yourself and your powers however you like during our sessions? And now this new venue is a beach. And Reneen's like, oh, well, I don't see how swapping one VR landscape for another is gonna soothe me. And Dr. Kwan is like, well, the ocean is nice, that's why. And she wants her to feel relaxed. More importantly, I want you to feel more comfortable. I'll also remind you that due to doctor-patient confidentiality, everything you say is safe here. And Reneen, you can tell she wants to talk, but doesn't know where to begin what she says. And Dr. Kwan just tells her, well, whatever feels right. So Reneen starts to explain to her, I thought that I had lost everything, but my Baba pushed me to share my gifts with the world. The lottery was my last shot. My only hope to fulfill my parents' dream for me when I lost it. After losing them, I no longer saw the point. which leaves Dr. Kwan to kind of console a bit. I can't imagine how hard that was, but I think your father would be very proud of the progress you made here. If I may, your inability to let go of the past is causing you to store all this anger and resentment. I think our next goal should be giving you the tools that help process that. But then, while Dr. Kwan is speaking, Raneem realizes that Dr. Kwan is bending over to admire a hermit crab in this VR simulation. And Raneem's like, it's not real. The animal, it's a projection. Why do you treat it as real? Dr. Kwan tells her, well, just because it's not real as we know it, doesn't mean we can't admire its beauty. And Raneem starts to tell her that she doesn't understand, and that's what leads the doctor to put the hermit crab in Raneem's hand so she can feel it. See for yourself. And it kind of puts a smile on Raneem's face just to see the little beauty that's here. And then Dr. Kwan tells her that your gift isn't just talking to machines. It's being able to view the world from a completely different perspective. Sometimes a new perspective is all we need. And until you understand that, your past grievances will just keep coming back to haunt you. Meanwhile, though, we pick up at Misty Knight's hideout in Brooklyn as the screen starts to activate, and it's the Assessor. He's back and he's assessing. Interesting developments. So much new information to be found here. Much have I missed since my offlining. Compiling and configuring. Configuration complete. New information is required. Assessing. And he starts to go over all of the recent Spider-Man battles. Assessment complete. Let us finish what we started. Meanwhile, we then pick back up with Miles as he's still enjoying the weather and flying around the city as he then heads to Dr. Kwan's office early for his appointment. But of course, no one's around at the time and he lets himself in. Anyone home? I'm early. I know. Guess I'm a changed man, Dr. Kwan. Maybe she stepped out to grab lunch, Miles thinks. So Miles decides to just plop down and wait on him. And he just webbed himself up a hammock and he's sitting back playing the game on his phone. But then Dr. Kwan finally shows up with none other than Rabble coming from their session. And Miles' spider sense goes off as he recognizes Rabble. Raneem? Chest locked up, can't breathe, heart racing, he thinks. Miles is immediately on go mode. Need to breathe, he thinks. Miles Morales? And now Rabble's fired up and Dr. Kwan is like, oh shoot, everybody just take a break. And Rabble's like, I'd rather take his hand instead. Dr. Kwan tells her, everyone, please just calm down. Please don't do anything rash. And Miles is like, what? You pretending to be one of Dr. Kwan's patients or something so you can get close to me? And Rabble's like, no, there's no need for pretense here, though I'll gladly accept this gift. And Miles thinks to himself, feeling the heat bubbling up. My brain's screaming, breathe, relax. Body doesn't listen. And they charge each other. You'll pay what is owed, Spider-Man. Oh yeah, come and do the damn thing. Leading Dr. Kwan to Hulk out. I said that's enough. No fighting in my office. Scared the bejesus out of Miles. And Rabble. She's like, what in the world? And now our hulked up Dr. Kwan is like, Miles, breathe. And Raneem, you listen. So Miles apologized. Sorry, Doc, it's just a lot. I'm sorry for having a reaction to the girl who blew up my house and tried to kill all my friends and family. And Raneem's like, well, I was going through a lot back then. And Miles is like, what? Meanwhile, Dr. Kwan, she's mad at herself for not padding the extra time between patients, which was very dumb, honestly. You got two bitter enemies and you really stacked them back to back. That's just not smart. I mean, I'm not a professional psychologist or anything like that, but that just doesn't feel right. Y'all let me know. But after Rabble tells Miles that, she was working on things, Dr. Kwan agrees. She's right, Miles. She made some great progress under my care. You both have. So maybe why don't the both of you try using the skills I've taught you instead of trying to kill each other? Unless, of course, you like power lift to negotiate this. And they're like, oh, no, we good. And then Kwan continues, Mayor Cage and Misty Knight placed Raneem under my supervision following the gang war incident. And Raneem chimes in, a direct result of your actions, might I remind you, Miles. I'm aware, Raneem, Miles responds. I'm sorry for fighting in your office, Dr. Kwan. It's just, even with all the training, I lost it. Meanwhile, Raneem's like, yeah, this is why I only talk to machines. But Dr. Kwan continues. She keeps stressing, Raneem, you made great progress, like I said. The same as you, Spider-Man. In fact, I say the two of you got more in common than you think. And I was like, ain't no way in here. We not the same. And she responds, well, both of you are stubborn with big hearts. The big difference being one of you is better at expressing their emotions and handling stress than the other. But Reneen, you'll get there. You're both also haunted by things from the past, which leads Miles to kind of think about things, and he apologizes. I'm sorry for attacking you, Reneen. Seeing you again brought up so many emotions. And then when Reneen goes to respond, she hears a sound. What is that voice? So strange. I've heard it before. Then a light started going out, and Spider-Man notices spider sense starts tingling, while Reneen's like, that voice, I know it. And the voice responds, could it be that I have outgrown you, Reneen? As the Assessor steps out of a hologram. How? You never finished reconfiguring, Reneen says, while Miles is like, you're not supposed to, please leave me alone. The Assessor did some messed up things to Miles, so Miles is going through something right now. Meanwhile, Dr. Kwan has to hold back up in the power lift. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. And the Assessor just stands there. Interesting. Increased muscle mass, increased speed, increased confidence. You have had some improvements since our last session. And Miles is like, you get away from me. And then he looks at Miles in this suit. Yes, I will. And then meanwhile, Powerlift runs in and smashes the Assessor into a wall. Sorry, I really don't like the way you're speaking to my client. And the Assessor just continues assessing. Gamma mutate detected. Immediate removal recommended. Correcting now. And he flies in Rabble's drones. She's like, my drones, those machines are mine to wield. I built them, spoken with them since before I could walk. And yet they now answer to me, he responds. And Dr. Kwan's like, yeah, it's gonna take a lot more than these to hurt me. And the Assessor's like, we agree. And he sends her back into her VR hologram world, or whatever the hell that is. Your removal to your secondary facility is all that is required. And then he closes the portal on her, locking her in there. We don't have the resources to deal with this gamma anomaly, he responds. And she's like, I'll get out of here one way or another. Meanwhile, Dr. Kwan's private little setup responds, gamma event detected, Dr. Kwan. Please relax. Have you tried breathing? So now it has to go through its thing to try to calm her down. Deploying Keisha's Calm Jazz Volume 3. And she's like, this could take a while. Meanwhile, though, back with the Assessor, he's like, we see no need to fight, as we simply seek to finish what my predecessor and Reneen started. And Reneen's like, you'll do nothing with my machines. And Miles, meanwhile, is like, what are you talking about? And Reneen continues, you will not take what is mine. I have already lost enough. You think you can control them? Then let me remind you, they will always obey me. And she takes back control of her drones. Interesting development, the Assessor says, giving Miles an opportunity to flip a couple webs at him. If you like that, you're really gonna love this. Analyzing vibranium-laced webbing, a curious upgrade indeed, the Assessor realizes, because Miles has that huge power-up courtesy of the Black Panther, T'Challa. And then he kicks the Assessor in the face. Analyzing vibranium-laced suit, increased power output via bioelectrical augmentation. Interesting. And Miles is like, I just call it max power. Because Miles has had quite a few upgrades since the last time he saw the Assessor. Meanwhile, Rabble is back again on the attack, and the Assessor tells her, Reneen, there is no need for this foolishness. I don't take orders from you. Assessment complete, he tells her. And then he extends 2 more sets of arms from wherever the hell they came from, and grabs both Reneen and Spider-Man by the neck. Review unimpressed. And Reneen's like, let go of me, give me back my machines. And he's like, no, it slams volleyball spikes, both of them to the ground. And Miles tells her, Reneen, we need to get out of here. He's too strong. And she's like, shut up. He won't have my word. Solar flare protocol. And she tries to get her tech back. What is this, the Assessor says? It's called a distraction, as Miles Morales comes in with a venom blast punch, cracking the Assessor in the face. Foolish. Meanwhile, Miles goes ghost mode, and he grabs Rabble with him and swings both of them out of there. We're out of here. And she's like, let go of me. I don't need your help. And Miles is like, yes, you do. And he pulls her anyway. And meanwhile, the Assessor comes back to recompiling. Hard light shell reforming. Combat capacities observed. Review The experiment can now begin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. Woo-hoo, man, I tell y'all what, the Assessor being back, oh, Miles is going through it. Miles is going through it. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know I want to hear all your thoughts and theories on this issue. How did you like it? And how are you feeling about this potential team up between Miles and Rabble? I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe if it's like just a temporary thing for now, but I like Rabble as an antagonist for Miles. I know she's trying to get better and, you know, get her mind right and seek help, but to hell with all that. I need jacked up mind Rabble. But I think this could lead for a cool team up though. Her and Miles against the Assessor. She might be just what Miles needs to defeat the guy, or to defeat the thing, I should say, the AI. But how do you guys think this is all gonna play out? And do you think the Assessor is gonna find those those boxes from the Ultimate Universe? Those are just sitting there, and I know they're gonna come back into play in a big way at some point very soon, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe they'll lead to the spinoffs that we know that we're getting after the end of Ultimate Universe. So I definitely can't wait to see how that all plays out, and I wanna hear how you guys think it's gonna play out. And as always, I definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all for stopping by. If you haven't already, please like this video, help me out with that algorithm. Share this thing, subscribe, and you could be the biggest help of all by hitting that new hype button. This puts this channel in the forefront of all YouTube followers, not just comic fans. Let's help run this thing up. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.